everybody, today I'm at the Sacramento Zoo with Chris, our zookeeper, and she's going to tell us all about the animals here at the zoo. So my first question is, what animals do you work with?
I work with called the Interpretive Center here at the Sacramento Zoo, and we work with mammals, reptiles, and birds, and it's a wide variety. So I work with a bobcat and a fox and some hawks and parrots, a kinkajou. Do you know what a kinkajou is?
No.
A kinkajou is a small animal. It kind of looks like a monkey, but it's related to raccoons, and they live in South America. And we work with hedgehogs and tenrecs, which kind of look like hedgehogs, armadillos, and then a variety of snakes and lizards, and a kookaburra, turtles and tortoises, so big variety. We work about 30 different animals in our department.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
So my second question is, what animal do you like the best?
What animal do I like the best? It's always a hard question to answer. I love cats a lot. They're my favorite. And I guess I'd have to say tigers are my favorite, because that's what got me started in the animal field.
What's the hardest and best part about your work?
I always think the hardest part of my job is when an animal passes away. Just like people, they get old and they get sick, and sometimes they do pass away, and because we do form a relationship with them, it's kind of like when you do your pet at home, and it's very sad when they pass away. So that's the hard part of our job. And then, like, what's the best part of our job? Is having the relationship with the animals. I enjoy having that relationship, getting to know the animals, learning their personality, and then also talking to people here in the zoo about the animals.
I was wondering, can you remember all of their names?
I do definitely know all the names of the animals I work with, and I'm still trying to learn all the animals' names of the rest of the zoo, because we have a lot of them. They're coming in and out, like learning all the birds and reptiles. That's a lot of birds and reptiles to learn.
I mean, because you guys have a lot of flamingos.
We do. And not necessarily all of them necessarily have names, but they all have numbers. And there's no way I can memorize all 500 numbers of each animal.
My next question is, do you use any math or social studies?
Well, math we do is because we weigh the animals once a month. Some animals get weighed more often, depending on if they're either pregnant or if they're an animal that's maybe sick, we weigh them more often. But in general, all the animals get weighed once a month, and they're weighed in kilograms. Well, here, a lot of times in America, we don't use kilograms as much, so we have to convert it to pounds for talking to people like you, so that you know kind of more of an idea of how much an animal weighs. And then social studies, I'd say probably the closest that is we have to know whether our animals are found when we talk to people, because people want to know, where's a flamingo found? So we can tell them, well, these types of flamingos are found here in America. There's also flamingos that are found in Africa. So we have to know different parts of the world for that.
What qualities do you need to become a zookeeper?
Well, generally zoos look for people who have a 4-year degree in biology, zoology, and it can really be anything, but those are the main focuses because you learn a lot about animals for that. And then usually 2 years of animal experience, and it's usually volunteering. And like here at Sacramento Zoo, we have a volunteer program, so we have where people can get experience working with the animals, so that when they get out of college, they have that experience to get a job.
Do the animals ever hurt you?
It's always a possibility, and usually when we get hurt, it's because we made a mistake. So with what I do, I work with the animals hands-on. And so we're handling the animals, they're sitting on us, and so if we make a mistake, we can get bit or scratched. But the animals we work with are not animals that have the potential to kill us. If they can hurt us, they can bite us and scratch us and make us bleed, but again, they're not dangerous animals like the tigers or the chimpanzees. But being a keeper, you have to shift your animals around, and if you make a mistake and forget to shut a door, that's when you can get injured. So you have to be very careful when you're a keeper and pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
I try not to, but I can imagine. So what did you do in college to become a zookeeper?
I did a lot of volunteering at animal places that had volunteer programs, so that I could gain experience of how to take care of animals, how to clean and feed, how to do enrichment and training with the animals. And then I took a lot of biology classes. I took an endangered species class. It also helps, like you say, do the social studies, or learning the world, so you can get to know where all these animals are from out in the world.
Does the Sacramento Zoo have any volunteer programs?
We do. We have a volunteer program. You have to be 18 years of age for insurance reasons to be working around the animals. And you can learn to be a keeper. And what you do is you come in and you help our keepers clean the exhibits, help do enrichment for the animals, watch some training sessions, possibly help participate in training sessions. And then we also have an internship in our interpretive center where I work, where we do more hands-on and we do more education, where we go out to schools and do education programs so that you can see if that's something you want to do in that part. And I forgot, we also have a teen program. So even though you're not 18, you can still volunteer here at the zoo and kind of learn about animals and how to teach about animals. And then I can get you kind of in the zoo and get you prepped for when you get old enough to go work with animals.
That's great, because I don't want to wait 8 years to help out. So yeah. Do you ever have to have a doctor come in to look at the animals?
Oh, we do. We have a vet that actually works right here at the zoo. And so when an animal gets sick, we can call up the doctor that day and say, hey, can you come over and look at our animal? And he'll come over and he makes, I guess you'd call, say, house calls to come see our animals, or sometimes we bring the animals up to our vet clinic that's right here on the zoo grounds. And what's neat about our zoo is they have windows, so you can see an animal getting a physical, or if an animal has to have surgery, we have it where people can view that. And so it's really exciting that we have a vet on staff to take care of something whenever it gets sick.
Where does your zoo get their animals?
We get most of our animals from other zoos. Some of the animals are actually born here at the zoo. Like, I don't know if you've heard, recently we had a baby tiger born here. He's only about a month old and he's doing really good, growing pretty fast. We also had a wolfguinea, which is a type of monkey found in Africa that was also born here in January. So we have babies that are actually born here, but then we also get other animals from other zoos. And on a rare occasion, we do get them from the wild. Like if a lot of times birds, if you look at our burrowing owl exhibit, we have a lot of burrowing owls that were injured and only have one eye, so they can't survive in the wild, but we gave them a home here.
So like, when the other zoos give you animals, do you have to give them animals in return?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes we switch animals, but sometimes what we do is there's an organization called the AZA. It's Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and there's people that are in charge of certain animals. So let's say we talked about the tiger. So the tiger has this committee that looks at all the tigers that are in all the zoos here in the United States, and they figure out who's related to who and who would be a good match with another one. So what they do is, let's say our female needs a new male tiger to be matched up with. So they look and say, okay, well there's a male tiger at the Cincinnati Zoo and he'd be a good match for your female. So we'll send our male over to you, and then the Cincinnati Zoo may get another male from some other zoo. And we just kind of trade animals around till we find good matches for those animals.
Cool, yeah. I didn't quite understand that before.
Because we want to make sure that there's good genetics in all our animals here in the zoo. So we try to trade them off so it's not the same animals breeding all the time.
So are the animals happy here?
Animals don't think of the same way we do, but I would have to say that a lot of the animals, they look pretty happy to me because they get fed every day. We have vet care. They don't have to worry about predators coming after them, and we give them lots of enrichment, which is like toys for them to do. And we have a couple times a year where they get a whole bunch of toys of like piñatas, and our teens that we have, our teen volunteers, they make a lot of toys for animals too, like the piñatas and cardboard structures, and they get a lot of cardboard boxes, of course, our favorite. But things made out of paper mache, a lot of our teens will do for them. So our animals are pretty spoiled here at the Sacramento Zoo.
How many years have you been a zookeeper?
I have been working with animals for about 22 years now.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
If you could change something about your work, what would it be?
I think I'd have to change maybe that the animals live a little bit longer. Because some animals, they only live maybe about 20 years. And like I said, it's kind of sad when they pass away. So, you know, you wish that the animals would live a little bit longer, that some of them wouldn't get sick, just like, you know, with people. So, but other than that, I really enjoy my job and working at the zoo and talking to people.
How many people do you think visit the animals each day?
Well, it varies. Sometimes we have just, like if it's a rainy day, just maybe a couple hundred. But on a day that's really nice like this, we may have a couple thousand that come to the zoo. And we had one day when it was our free day a couple years ago, I think we had 17 or 18,000 people in one day come see the animals. So it really varies. But on average, on the weekends, it's maybe about 1,000 or a couple thousand people.
Wow,
in one day.
That's a lot of people. Do you ever speak in front of lots and lots and lots and lots of people?
Oh, I do. That's part of my job. Is we do a show here at the zoo, and our amphitheater holds about 300 people. So we do shows twice a day, and so there's a lot of people there. Then we also go out and do Zoomobile programs where we take the animals and go to a school and do a classroom presentation. So there'll be, 20 to 30 kids, 40 kids in a classroom that we'll do. And then the other is we will do sometimes TV interviews, like on the news. And so then that's being broadcast to hundreds of people, thousands of people sometimes.
Is there any other animal that you'd like to work with?
There's several animals I like to work with. One is called a wild dog or a painted dog from Africa. They're really pretty dogs, and they're social dogs, and not many people have really heard of them, so I think that'd be neat to work with them to be able to teach people about them. Also, have you heard of a pangolin?
No, I have not.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard of pangolin. I kind of like unusual animals that a lot of people haven't heard of that are a little different. And they're kind of an armored animal that's actually a mammal, and they're pretty neat. They're found in Africa and Asia. Those are pretty neat. And a binturong. Have you heard of that?
No.
And the name for them is bearcat, and they're related to civets, which most people don't know what a civet is. So next thing would be, do you know what a mongoose is?
Actually, I do.
Yeah, so the next closest relative would be mongoose. So imagine a big mongoose about 3 feet long with a long tail that's about 3 or 4 feet long.
Oh.
Pretty big. They're pretty neat animals.
So why is the zoo important for the community?
The zoo is very important because a lot of people are not going to have the opportunity to see most of the animals that we have here in the zoo in the wild or even up close. And so even like a lot of people won't be able to go to Africa or Asia. And then even if you do get to go to maybe the Himalayan mountains, likely not to see a snow leopard. So this gives people an opportunity to see the animals and see what they look like and see them up close and get a better appreciation for them and learn about them and why they're important.
Is becoming a zookeeper easy?
Yes and no. If you like animals and you have a passion for it, it can be kind of easy because it's something that you love and you enjoy. And but getting some of the experience can be a little bit difficult because it is competitive. There's a lot of people who want to come and play with the animals, but it also is hard work. We clean up after the animals. We have to take care of them. We prepare their diets. So it's not just all fun with the animals. There's some hard work that's involved too. And if you do like take care of giraffes and stuff, you got to rake that giraffe yard. So there's a lot of hard work, but it keeps you in shape. So that's the benefit of it too.
1 to 10, 1 being the worst, how would you rate your job?
Oh, I'd rate it a 10. I love my job. I love working with the animals. I love teaching people about them. The Sacramento Zoo is a fun zoo. It's small, so I get to know all the different people and animals in the zoo. A lot of opportunities here.
My last question is, have you ever heard of Apps for Apes? It's a program for apes. They usually just sit around and be lazy. The Apps for Apes program creating apps on iPads that apes can play on. So it like wakes them up and gives them
stimulated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that specific program, but I have read articles where they're using the iPads for the apes and other primates, and yeah, that there's different games or things they can have them do on them, and they stick their hands to the bars and they can play with them. So I have seen that where they can use the new technology to help get the animals more engaged, and because when they are in zoos they don't have to worry about different things or forage for food, so we gotta give them other things to do. So that's been working out well, I've heard.
Thank you, Chris, for letting me interview you. It was really nice to hear all of your answers, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's nice meeting you, and I'm glad I can help you out.
So if you guys stuck around this long, we have a special surprise for you. Sacramento Zoo's very own armadillo, Addie, will be joining us. It feels so weird.
So it almost feels like reptile skin, huh?
Yeah.
And this armor on them is made out of the same thing as your fingernail. It's called keratin. And then she has these bands, what they're kind of named after 6 bands here, that allows for the flexibility to move around.
Wow.
And then the name armadillo comes from the Spanish word, which means little armored one.
Oh,
these guys,
that makes sense.
And these guys live down in South America, and they're actually the most common armadillo found in Argentina. And they're the only armadillo that is diurnal, or a day animal. So she's normally awake during the day and sleeps at night like us. But all the other armadillos, even like the 9-banded that's found here in the United States, is nocturnal. They come out at night.
He's so cute.
You know what armadillos eat?
No.
These guys, they eat bugs and insects, and they'll eat some fruits and vegetables, and then carrion. You know what carrion is?
No.
It is dead animals. So they help clean up the environment too. And then if you feel right underneath here by the arm, feel how soft the skin is underneath.
Oh, wow.
These guys are mammals because they have hair on them. And mammals are the only types of animals that have hair. A lot of people think of them as reptiles because of that skin. It looks all scaly.
I can understand why they would get it mixed up.
And then check out the claws on this armadillo.
Oh.
You know what they use those claws for?
No.
Digging. These guys are expert diggers, and they can dig really, really fast. And they dig to find their food because that's where a lot of bugs will hang out, is underneath the ground. And they also will make burrows underground to live in. And about every week or so, they'll make a new burrow so the predators don't find out where they're living.